I'm Stephanie Oden. Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast. And this is where we nurture, inspire, equip, ignite, and empower introvert leaders and business owners just like you who are making waves quietly and with impact. And I am thrilled to be able to bring to you another one of our Spotlight Achiever guest interviews. I like to bring people in front of you that will help you move to the next level of success, whether it's building your leadership skills, embracing who you are as you move to the next level, and growing as a business owner and entrepreneur. So I hope you grab some nuggets from what my guest shares with you. I know when my guests come on, I lean in too. I continue to learn from the people that I put in front of you. So let's dig in, shall we? Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, where we nurture the journey of introverts who desire to achieve greater levels of influence, income, and impact. The go-to podcast for introvert achievers just like you, seeking purpose-driven growth. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. Have you ever desired to have a mentor whisper success secrets into your ear? One with firsthand experience as a six-figure corporate leader, expertise in entrepreneurship, and is an introvert? Tune into each episode where we will provide valuable insights into how introverts can effectively navigate life with full-time jobs, pursue career success, and delve into entrepreneurship. We will explore various business and career topics related to self-discovery, achieving success, and finding joy in the journey. My guest and I share real-life experiences, strategies, tools, and resources that will encourage personal and professional growth, self-empowerment, and living an authentic, purposeful life. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. And I'm your host, Stephanie Oden. And this is where we inspire, equip, educate, empower, and ignite the journey of introvert achievers, business owners, and leaders just like you. And we are not shy, timid, or needing to be fixed. We are an introvert, and that is our superpower. Introverted AFF. Absolutely fabulous and feisty. And today I am thrilled to have another Spotlight Achiever guest with me. She's a friend. She's a co-coach. She is a baddie. You know, we talked about cursing on here before. But anyway, she is a baddie. And I want to introduce you to my guest today, Stephanie Treasure.
Hey there, Quiet Impact Podcast listeners. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
A little bit about this guest, and you'll see why I say she's a queen. She's a speaker, a business strategist, a marketing mentor, and she focuses on high achieving and purpose-driven coaches and consultants who want to build a profitable brand with clarity, visibility, and sales systems and still be in alignment. Everybody wants to know results. Let me just lay them out for you. She has clients that have celebrated 38K launches in 1 month, 10K months, fully booked coaching practices, and also have become sought out speakers and authors and media contributors. That's just a little bit about the results that she gets, because everybody wants to know results. She has rigor and humor. And she really is an encourager and consistently shows up and serves those in her marketing community. She lives in Jamaica. We talked about that before we went live. She loves plant-based food and is also really into wellness and really staying healthy. And Stephanie, a lot about you. I didn't even share it all, but share with them some of the things that weren't in the bio, or maybe some things that I maybe should have talked about that I didn't.
Wow. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, first of all. And I really, really appreciate it. And again, I'm excited to be here. And so beyond the bio, some things about me that may surprise people. One thing is that growing up, I was always the picture taker of the family. I was always with the camera, and this was before before we had the smartphones where we could take pictures very easily. But I was always taking pictures to the point where my family called me the paparazzi. So that's a fun fact about me. I just love capturing moments and documenting so that we have something to look back, cherish, and look back at, cherish, and laugh about. And a couple other things as it relates to the wellness part. A few years ago, having been a couch potato for several years, I embarked upon, a friend of mine invited me to join a running group, and we meet every Saturday at 5 o'clock in the morning, running before, because as I mentioned, I live here in Jamaica. The sun is always bright and it's hot, 90 something degrees, even in the shade. So we would start very early. At 5 o'clock, it was dark. And, as we're running, the sun comes up. And I did not think I would survive that. The first time I ran, because when we met, everybody was like, okay, so how many miles are you going to do today? How many miles are you going to do today? I was like, I'm not quite sure how many miles. I didn't even make it 1 mile. I did not realize how much running would be, it would take a toll, like how much you really had to muster up to really get into a groove with running. And I stuck with it. And eventually, I finally was able to run my first just under 10 miles one Saturday morning. And it was one of those where, sometimes they say, always set a target for what you want to achieve. I didn't set a target that morning. I said I would just listen to my body. And for the first morning that I ran, because each time you run, there's a way to track your mileage. At mile markers, the other members would say, oh, you're now at 2 miles, you're now at 4 miles. But I ignored the mile markers this morning, and finally somebody was passing by. He's like, are you okay? Are you going to, run the distance to, it was supposed to be a half marathon. And I was like, well, how many miles am I right now? He's like, you're just about 10 miles. I was like, all right, I think this is it. 10 miles sounds like a nice round number to stop. And I don't think, because I was really, really pushing at that point. So yeah, I'm a runner, an aspiring marathon runner, but my first goal is the half marathon. And in terms of the health part, as you mentioned, I love plant-based eating. One of my pastimes is to have go through my phone, scroll through YouTube, because I follow a lot of vegan vloggers, and look for new recipes to try. And I just, see something that sparks my fancy, whether it's something savory or something sweet, get all my ingredients, and I would just have a good time doing something different and seeing what's possible in terms of putting flavors together that are totally plant-based. That, some people think that plant-based food possibly tastes like paper, but you'd be surprised how creative you can get with the ingredients and, put something beautiful together. And many weekends, you'll find me experimenting with a new recipe in the kitchen.
You know what? When you said that, the thing that I thought about was how you being creative in that space when you're creating with the foods, how that allows you to be creative in doing what you do as a marketing strategist. I don't know
Mm.
why I put that analogy together, but I thought, wow, that desire that she has really translates into the creativity that I've seen and seen you use with others that you've coached and how you share. Okay, that was just something that
Mm.
popped in my mind. It's like, okay, that's one of the reasons why she's as good as she is because of that other activity, that other part of the brain that you're using. And that's
Yeah,
yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you so much. And I agree that really translates because, and I find that it's been very helpful in this time that we're in where we're kind of in a trust recession where, people are not necessarily trusting you so easily online because so many things can be produced using AI that people are not quite sure if they should believe your content, if you're really writing that content, or even if they should believe the voices or the images they see on videos. And what I've found is that in order for me to reach and connect with my audience, which is a huge part of marketing, because people buy not necessarily because of the thing that they want, but they're kind of buying what you portray as, the thing that's so good about, this thing that you're selling. And even with the vegan part or the plant-based cooking, a lot of times I'll try these recipes because the vlogger that's putting it together is like, oh, this is so good. I wish you guys were in the kitchen with me. I can smell the aroma. And, oh, look, and they're showing you. I'm like, yeah, this looks good. And then I want to make it. And I find that I'm always challenging myself to bring innovation to my marketing with the events that I've done, which you've been a part of my virtual events, with the events that I do with workshops or webinars or masterclasses that I'm hosting, with the kind of content that I put out there, like challenges and boot camps for my people. Because although, marketing, there's not really anything new under the sun as it relates to marketing, but it's the way that you present it, the way that you try to activate and captivate your audiences that makes a difference in terms of, having them see the vision of what's possible for themselves, as well as seeing you in a different light or kind of liking what you're bringing across, so that, it helps them to make better or buying decisions that make them feel safe and in trust, and they know that this, they're buying something that is in full integrity. Where, like I said, in right now in this time, the trust is, it's kind of waning. People are kind of they're more discerning right now. So the creativity part really makes a difference.
You dropped, and I don't want to run past it. I want to back it up and pick it up. You dropped a gold nugget right there, and I want to make sure my listeners pick this up. Is a trust recession. I had not heard that before. That is your word. If you go use her word, give her credit for it, because um, that is absolutely, absolutely true. And now, as introverts, one of the things that I have found with us is it's kind of our time, because one of the gifts that we tend to naturally have because of our listening ability is people tend to trust us a little bit easier because we don't necessarily do small talk, and we don't really bring all the extra stuff. We are who we are. So in a way, we're set up naturally to be, if we choose to be ourselves and not be what others think we should be, we're naturally set up to sit in that place of what people need with that authenticity and really building that know, like, and trust. Again, you sparked that, and I thought, wow, we're set up to naturally fit in that place if we stay in our place, right? If we own who we are. Now, if we go try to be somebody else, all bets are off.
Mm,
Try to be ourselves.
okay.
If we're ourselves, then we naturally do. I don't know how we do it. I don't know. When we choose to talk to you, we like you and we trust you, and that
Yeah.
brings trust. Now, how do you help your clients? I saw some notes on something you shared with me about fire in the belly. So I really want to hear more about that. How do you help your clients, Stephanie?
Yeah, so good question. I work with clients who are coaches and consultants and service-based business owners usually. And in this group are people who have a gift, have a knack, or have amassed a certain level of experience from their corporate background and are at a place where they're not necessarily ready to retire. And they're not even usually at that age. My clients range from, possibly, I would say 30s to maybe 50s or early 60s. But they're at a place where they have a gift and a knack for the work that they do. And they wanted to bring that, they wanted to kind of transition from corporate or how they were serving before to supporting clients in that area, whether it's life coaching or money coaching or mindset coaching or fitness or nutrition or something where the kind of work that they do changes lives, as cheeky, as tongue-in-cheek that may sound. The work that they do truly changes lives, and so they are usually very passionate about it. They usually would do it for free. They usually kind of start off doing it almost for free in terms of right, they want, because they want to help so much. They kind of self-sacrifice and kind of hold back and kind of dumb down their offers in a way that they have to sell it for a lower price.
Mm-hmm.
And so under that subcategory as well are my women, right? I do work with a lot of women, a few good men as well, but mostly women. And my women, my moms, my ladies who are coaches and consultants and service-based business owners, they because of the passion for the work that they do, because it's life-changing, they don't want to play small. Deep down, they want to play big. They want to help more clients. They want to make a bigger impact. And so they have that fire in the belly to make change, which they know is powerful through the work that they do. But face it, change, usually there's a cost, right? If you think about your biggest profit, not for profit organizations, while it's not for profit, they still need money to run it, right? And so as business owners, as coaches and consultants, they want to, make a big impact, right? And, my Quiet Impact podcast listeners will get this, but they also want to be rewarded because they need to feed their families. But at the same time, outside of the business, there's causes, there's ways that they want to help that it takes money to kind of care. And they need to be able to be paid handsomely in order to do those things. So I want to feel, or what I feel and what I see, especially, whenever I get to know my clients, is, you would ask me some questions outside of the business. I get to know my clients that way as well. And outside of the business, there's so much heart for making change, for making a difference in their families, in their relationships, in their communities, in the world. I know that when I empower them to do great work in their business, I know that when I empower them to make a profit, to grow and scale, to achieve, and surpass certain sales and financial targets. Once that happens, then automatically the money is going to recirculate. It's going to go, they're going to give back and they're going to pay forward. And so I like to work with clients who really have that desire to make their businesses profitable and sustainable, to pay themselves handsomely, and also to make a difference and make a big impact in the world. So what that looks like practically is, as a marketing strategist, I help them to get more visible so that people can know that they're out there, know about the work that they're doing. I help them to, not just get visible, but to stand out as an expert. Then we work on the marketing pieces like lead generation, content marketing, deepening the connection with their people, showing up as their authentic self. And then we work on the sales piece because, of course, that it's a transactional piece of a business that makes it profitable. So we make sure that their offers, they have an offer suite that's scalable, and they have a way to bring clients into those offers on a consistent basis, and in a way, again, that it's scalable so that they don't just work with a handful of clients and they're capped there, but how they can really put systems in place, bring team on, be able to work, one to many, many, right? A lot of people, so that they can continue to, as they desire, that fire in that in their belly to really make a big impact.
Wow. How did you get here? Like what? How did you get here? I know you have a background in a corporate side as well.
Yes, in product management, brand, product and category management. I do, prior to that, I had a background in the airline industry.
Oh, really? What exactly,
Yeah,
what exactly did you do in the airline industry?
yeah, I actually worked in passenger service at American Airlines in JFK for about 9 years.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
I learned things about my friends, colleagues, my besties, my business besties when they come on this podcast. I didn't know that. That is excellent. That's wonderful. That's cool.
Yeah. For nice. So I worked there. The good thing about the airline industry, at least at the time for me, was that, we worked part-time hours. It was very, very flexible. So I was able to go to school while I was working. And that's when I got my undergraduate and my master's degree in marketing. But yeah, I was there for 9/11.
Oh, wow.
strikes and a few different things that happened. But yeah, I've worked with American Airlines for 9 years. Good
Wow.
times.
That's Thank you for sharing that. That is something I didn't know about you. And even in that, I don't want to focus on that because that was just a part of your career. However, it helped to shape you and gave you experiences in relating to people. Again, I think that's totally transferable to how you relate to people and your clients now. It's because you've
Yeah.
really honed in on being able to listen to them and walk them through overwhelm, anxiety, uncertainty, all those things because of a role that you played previously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What was maybe a scary part that had you on this journey that you're on that you really moved through and came out of being a better person?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this is going to surprise you, or maybe not, because, we're talking about Quiet Impact, the Quiet Impact podcast here. So, and you and I were talking about this a little bit before we went live. I actually, get ready, I had major issues with public speaking.
Hmm.
Anytime I had to go on a mic, or if I had to, I mean, going back to if I had to, I grew up in the church, and every now and then they would assign different members to read the lessons. And whenever I was assigned to read a lesson, it was major. Like, I practiced for, like, you would find out like the week before, they would put you on the roster saying next Sunday, you're assigned to work, you're assigned to read the lesson. And I would be practicing for the whole week the verse that that was assigned to me, because I was absolutely terrified. And when I would go there, you could kind of hear the shaking in my voice.
Mhm.
Fast forward to undergrad and my graduate degree, and a degree in business and marketing requires that you do a certain amount of presentations.
Mhm.
Whenever I had to do that, it was major anxiety leading up to
Oh,
it,
wow.
and in corporate, the same thing. And so, as an entrepreneur, sitting in sales meetings and making my pitch, even before I was working with clients one on one and having sales calls, on Zoom privately, in corporate, I had to, or even in early business, when I was trying to pitch a proposal, I had to present to a team. Okay. And that was nerve wracking for me. So imagine getting on video, imagine doing live streams, imagine coming on a podcast, right? So that was something that I actually even hired, I can think of two times in my career. Once when I was in business school, and once when I started my business, that I hired coaches to help me with speaking,
Wow.
right? So it
Wow.
was something that I had to work through and practice to be able to, you see me now, I go live at a drop of a hat. If you
Yeah.
called upon me and said, Stephanie, I want to go live in my Facebook group at the top of the hour. There's something that I want to share, and I love what you had to say about this thing. I would be ready, right?
Yeah.
It's something
Yeah.
that I could do upon, at a moment's notice. So it's easy for me now, or easier, especially speaking on real stages, which I had to work through that as well.
Mhm.
But it wasn't always this way. So that's something that is surprising to some people when they've heard me speak, and they think that I'm an accomplished speaker. And I like to think that I know a thing or two now, but it
Right.
wasn't always easy for me.
And I'm so glad you shared that because so many of my clients as well are have that fear just like you, like that fear in leading a meeting. I mean, I want you to stand up and say your name and tell me your specialty, and they aren't able to do it. I think one of the things that really helps that being able to have that, I don't say I ever get used to it, right? I still get nervous before I press the record, before I
Mm.
step to the mic. Like I still get the, oh crap, am I really here to do this? And when we finally step into the place, I think that's when knowing who we are and that our message matters, I think that takes over all the other noise. because we know in our gut that what we say will reach at least one person. At least that's what I think. It's like if my message reaches at least one person, one thing that I say, then I've done the job that I was sent here to do.
Yes.
And don't try to be anybody else. That's one of the things that I also admire about you is you are you. And I've seen you say, you know what, I'm going to look at my notes because when I don't, I get off tangent. Hello.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
real. That is relatable. And absolutely, if I go back to the point you mentioned on the trust recession, that is something that builds trust. When you
Mm.
say, you know what, I do not have it all together. I need to look at my notes because I will squirrel, and that won't be a good experience for you.
Right. Right. Yes.
But
Yes.
that
And the audience
does
wants to
build
hear
that,
that. Yeah.
subconsciously that builds that seriously, that is your phrase, Stephanie. I don't know if you've used it before on any other platform, but you heard it here first on the Quiet Impact Podcast.
I won't take full credit because I have heard colleagues say the same thing,
Ah,
especially in the event that I did in January, which you were also a part of. Because a lot of marketers have that same, they may not articulate it that way because
mm,
I know that you have experienced it as well, which is why you show up so authentically in your community and people get to know and feel who you are, what you're about, and trust you as well. But yes, it is something that is seems to be a trend that we are in right now, a phase that
mm,
we're in right now,
mm,
where people are more of being more discerning, and so you really, you're charged. The ones of the people among us, like you and I, are really charged to show up more authentically. And if you have to consult notes, say, yeah, I consult notes. Or I get, saying to people, yeah, I get nervous sometimes. I want to give so much to you, to this community, that
yes,
I really practice and think about what I have to say and really
yes.
get centered before I hit play. But that's how I can really show up for you powerfully and inspire or teach or engage, whatever you're there to do. Being very transparent that this is what I do and this is
Hmm.
how much it means to me, that I come across, or that what I share really supports you to the best
Hmm.
that it can, and really reaches you where you are.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about a lot, and there are some challenges that you'd mentioned to me that you've kind of overcome that I think would be relatable to my audience. And can you share a little bit on, what are a couple of the challenges that you mentioned that you've overcome in on your path to success that I know would relate to the Quiet Impact audience?
Yeah, sure. So here's a common one. I'm going to use a phrase here, but I can explain it. Imposter syndrome,
Mm,
right? Where that is where, the marketing term that you probably have heard or probably haven't, where um, you don't feel that you're an expert. You're even though you're expert in what you do, most likely, it's part of your education, part of your background, in terms of experience and your business experience. Somehow you feel that, especially, and I find with my women, that we're not enough. We're not knowledgeable enough. We don't know enough. We're not as good as, the other, name your industry crush. Okay. So yes, I did
did
encounter
you
that.
say industry crush? You did say industry crush. See, I lean into you. I listen to you, Stephanie. You drop those nuggets. I want to be somebody's industry crush one day. I'm not gonna lie. I want to be okay.
And you probably are, right? For your community, you are seen as the one who has it all together, the introvert who, although you're an introvert, you're out there and you're doing the things. And other introverts is like, how can I get there? She's an introvert, I'm an introvert, but I can't do what she does. So
Okay.
you
All right.
most likely are already an
All right.
industry
I,
coach.
I digress. So, your the imposter syndrome. You
Yeah, so
mentioned
that for
it. Okay.
sure, where, I wasn't sure if my stuff was good, if what I spoke about, what I did, my coaching, am I good enough? Is this good enough to serve my people and have them get great results, right? So that's one thing that I had to work through and really, with coaching and, my own inner work, get to a point where I, accepted that, yes, I'm bringing a lot to the table. I show up with heart and I really give into and pour into my clients and they are getting results. Okay. So I'm not an imposter. I'm here. I'm a player just like everybody else in the marketplace doing the kind of work that I do. And I'm doing it my way or from my own community. I'm putting my twist to it from my lived experience, from my expertise, my background. And yes, my clients are getting results, right? The other thing, kind of coming back to the industry crush piece, right, is comparing myself to others. So yes, I'm going to look at Lisa Sasevich, Ali Brown, um, Fabian Fredrickson, um, you know, Amy Porterfield. We can all think of the various names in our own industry who we're following, who may have inspired us to get started with our business or inspired us to show up more, or whatever they're doing that we admire, that we want to bring about for ourselves. I would compare myself, thinking, their marketing is better, or they're showing up more, they have this, they have that. In terms of, when I say what they have, not material things, but in terms of their reach, their power, their presence, their success, perceived success, because, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
So yes, comparing myself to them, thinking that because I don't measure up, why would people want to work with me when they could easily work with these other bigger names that for sure, can help them more than I can, right? And I had to get to a point where, again, I owned my expertise and what I was bringing to the table and how I was able to support others. And because, if if I don't have the millions of followers that, say, Amy Porterfield has, but I have maybe 1,000 followers, that allowed me to show up for my community in a way that's more personal, more, because I'm sure with Amy, she has team that in some of her programs are fulfilling those programs, and she's probably showing up a fraction of the time. Because I'm in a smaller pool, I'm able to show up more and really connect with and give personalized attention to my clients, and again help them to get great results there too. So that's something that I worked through. And the other thing was that I struggled with at some point was growing my reach. I felt like my pool was too small and I didn't know how to enlarge my territory so that I can reach more people. And that took some coaching, business coaching, in terms of programs that I signed up for, that taught me the strategies that allows me to bring in leads. I'm bringing in hundreds of leads per month. In any one time with events that I'm leading, I'm bringing in 1,000 to just under 2,000 people at a time within the space of 2 weeks. So yeah, I had to learn, I had to invest, I had to get around the people who could show me the way, show me what to do, and then be able to incorporate those systems in my business. And now I'm able to also support others and share with them how to replicate these kind of results in their businesses so that they too can grow, leverage, and scale.
The thing that you hit on that we've talked about in the community before is it is so important to invest in where you want to go. It's important to invest in coaching and find the coach that you resonate with. I might not be the coach for you. Stephanie, two Stephanies, you can't go wrong with us, but Stephanie may not be the coach for you. But it's so important to find the coach that you resonate with and dig in. Don't test drive a coach, okay? Like, do your research before you make the investment, because working with a coach is not going to be all comfy cozy. You're going to get uncomfortable before you expand and grow into the person that you've become, before you get to the point of where you, like Stephanie, she walks a talk and she does bring in legitimate organic leads on a consistent basis. And so if generating leads is a place that you really want to expand into, definitely I'm going to give you some information at the end that you can connect with her and plug into some of the opportunities that she shares, because it is the thing that I think resonates with me as an introvert with Stephanie is the authenticity and the simplicity and the accountability. You're going to do the work. She'll encourage you, but you're going to do the work. You're going to show up, but every step you're never alone. And that's one of the things that I definitely have admire, respect about her. And when you get to that place of there is no competition, like we're here to serve where we need to serve, it's a whole different relationship between partners. It just is.
Mm.
Oh, this has been so good, so good. Okay. So tell me three things that you'd like to um, just important things that you want to be able for them to take away from, and they can be three things that really you think are really important that you want them to walk away from this
Mm.
today.
Good question. First is to give yourself grace as you go through this journey of entrepreneurship, with your coaching, as you're learning to be a better coach, as you're learning to reach more of your people and bring on more clients. Give yourself grace that it's okay not to know it all, right? As long as you know that you know what is lacking, or you know where you need to sharpen up your skills, and then you take steps to get support in that area. It's okay to not have it all together. It's okay to not have the bells and whistles and all the branding, as well as it's okay if there's people, as Stephanie mentioned, not everybody will see you as a coach for them. And if you have a sales call today, or within a week of hearing this, or before you heard this, you had a sales call that the person said no, that's okay, because again, you're not the coach for everybody, but it doesn't mean that your person isn't out there. Because when you do, and you possibly have but don't remember, where you were on those calls when you didn't even have to hard sell, you didn't even have to pitch. The person, within a few minutes of the call, the person's like, okay, so can you just tell me about the programs? I really want to work with you.
Yeah.
I really feel that I'm called. I'm glad I found you. Or, wow, I never heard about you before. One person just mentioned it, and now I'm here, and I can't get enough. I'm watching your videos. I'm listening to your podcast, right? Your people are
Right.
there. So give
Right.
yourself grace that
Right.
it's okay. Once you keep moving forward, keep taking steps to get better, reach more people, be a better coach, you're going to have the business of your dreams.
Right.
The other thing I want to remind you is that, yes, and you've heard me say it too, I've been investing for some time, invested in my education while I was going to school, invested in a speaking coach, right? Invested in the business.
Mhm.
Remember that in order to move forward, in a business, just like anything, say you're trying to make your home better and increase the value, you have to invest in a project, whether it's upgrading the kitchen or something for your business, in order to have it really be the business of your dreams and get it to where you want it to be, or bring in more clients, or reach more people and make a bigger impact. Investing in coaching, investing in a team to support you, investing in, maybe not advertising, but in some way to get yourself out there more. Take these steps, because that's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to reach more people, enlarge your territory, and again, make a bigger impact. And the other thing that I wanted to say, I had it all here written down too, is to own your expertise.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Own your expertise. You are enough. And yes, you may be somebody's industry crush. All right. Look at all that you have done in terms of, because I think you also mentioned it, we all have crossover skills. That's not necessarily specific to coaching, but it's part of what makes you a better coach. Okay. Look at all that you've achieved in corporate and in your personal life that makes you different, that makes you more resilient, that makes you stand out, that makes you more determined, that makes you a better listener to your people, that makes you very, because of my time in passenger service, there's a way that I deal with client issues, or a way that I deal with colleagues that I get commended for, wow, that was so professional, or wow, that was so organized. Because of my background in the airline industry, because of my background in corporate, because I just have a way that I do things, and it's part of my, it's part of my appeal. It's part of what supports my clients and have them be in a good container that's structured for them to get great results. So own your expertise, the things that you bring to the table, and stand behind it, and use it as selling points. Mention it in your sales calls, even if you think that it's not directly related to what you do, because it is. It's part of what you bring to the table that makes you different, makes you unique, and helps your clients to have a great experience with you.
I absolutely agree with everything you said. Those were great. Those were great. Stephanie, thank you so much for being a guest today. And what is the best way for the listeners to plug in to connect with you?
Great. You can connect with me on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm the Stephanie Treasure. So it's Stephanie Treasure with the word "the" in front of it, because my name was taken, surprisingly. And you can follow me there, or on LinkedIn, also Stephanie Treasure. I do have a Facebook group, but if you go to if you go to the Instagram profile and you click on the bio, the links in bio, that will take you to the Facebook group. It's called Marketing Strategies to Grow and Scale. So you can also search for it on Facebook.
Excellent, excellent. For my listeners that are in the realm of business owners and entrepreneurs, as you're looking to position your authority, definitely Stephanie is somebody you want to plug into. Follow her. She always puts out good quality content and serves so unselfishly in her community. I highly suggest you connect with her on some level. However you need to do, you need to get in plugged in with Stephanie. All right. Thank you so much. We'd appreciate you dropping your comments and your thoughts below, so that I can know that you were here. We can come back and answer your questions, and also say hi, because we do appreciate you making time to listen and tune in. So that's it for today. That's a wrap. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
That's it for this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let me know any insights that you had from this episode. I would love to hear your takeaways. Remember to head to my website, grab a copy of the Success Pillars for Quiet Achievers. It's a resource I created for you. And join us next week. Thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. See you next time.